both junior and senior. So if you're coming out of college looking for a job, like we have still, like I mentioned, competitive pay, but really need to like understand the metaverse, like the focus on the future of gaming, data science. The job description usually lets you know what they're looking for. So explain why you're a good fit, kind of based off that market. Once you really believe in the company, the vision, like I would start to negotiate it. You can easily be like, hey, like instead of like giving me a raise, like I would love to get a stock package, like make sure you do the awareness, because you're not going to see that for like 2+ years.
Hi all, good morning. So today I have Connor with us, who is currently nervous about his round of funding, but I've given him assurance that he will do fine, just because we've spoken with a lot of founders who were nervous, but things worked out well. Let's welcome Connor on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, whose mother actually mentioned that he had a respect for others and was very caring towards others. I'd like for him to elaborate a little more on that, just because I read this about him on his LinkedIn. So would love to understand from Connor himself. Hi Connor, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
So touching off that, that was a letter my mom wrote me. There was like a program for like high school when you go to Kairos for my school. So she sent that, but I don't know. It comes down. I've always felt that you can always find something good in someone. It's just how hard you look, and it always comes back around. So life hasn't always been easy on my end. So, and there's people extended olive branches that got me into a better place, and I was able to build momentum. So you never know what's going on in someone's life. So why make it harder? So
That's a beautiful way to put it. I think when usually someone does something annoying, we're just like, why did this person do this? And we tend to overlook all the good things about them, when it should
yep.
be the opposite. So it's definitely inspiring that people like you still exist, who are out there to look for the best in people. So Connor, would love to understand where your company is, where you work, and what your role is within the company.
Great. So I'm the CEO and founder of POGR. We're a big data company, specifically do analytics for gaming and the metaverse. We say future of gaming in the metaverse. So right now we're going through an accelerator. We're raising our seed round. It's going well. Our demo day is in May. So this is great timing, because we've actually been posting on LinkedIn for a couple positions. I'll go over them in the end. But even in my last role, I was involved with hiring probably 20+ people.
Oh, wow.
So the kind of key, well, yeah, I'll just keep going in this. My less about my company. The key thing is when going and talking to a recruiter, is the first thing is like send them an email. Like usually there's some way to stand out, and it doesn't have to be a cover letter, but just something along the lines of why you're a good fit for the company. Like show yourself that like you understand the basics of what they do. There's a couple ways to do research. Like maybe some don't have as much information, but the job description usually lets you know what they're looking for. So explain why you're a good fit, kind of based off that market. As a CEO and founder, like we have a team of 5 right now, and we're looking to hire 9. It's people that we don't have to hold hands with in the beginning. Obviously, you're at a startup. There's a lot of hats being worn at all times. So having to really take the time out of your busy day to go, and obviously, like this is besides normal help and normal onboarding, but like time and time again, having to have someone check or double check. It's at that point, it's like you could do the work yourself. So it's really having that sense of kind of initiative to kind of take the work and do your best attempt, because eventually you'll get the hang of it. So that starts with sending an email, saying what you're good at, doing research, making it seem you come to the interview and it's less about what we're doing and more about how you can help us and how you can be involved. This is different for at bigger companies, because they have a structure, but for a startup doing the first 10 employees, it's all about what value proposition you can have. What can you take off the table? Because it's an overwhelming load. You have to prioritize. Every round of funding is a plan, and you're just building on top of it. So make sure you're in it for the long haul. Like it's kind of, you won't really get rewarded besides experience. Like the pay will be all right. It'll be the same as normal, but the hours and kind of intensity will be intense. So I'd say it's make sure you understand what you're looking for, and then go directly to the source, give a good value proposition.
No,
So
it makes sense. I think You mentioned about the salary. So I think a lot of startups, for example, have this cash component, the base salary, and then they have this equity component just because the more the employees work with them, the more profitable it will become. So I would love for you to explain equity in your own terms when it comes to
Yeah,
actually employing people, just because people are like, no, I'd rather have base pay, when actually equity might be much more profitable in long run.
yeah.
I would love to understand your perspective on that.
So there's pros and cons. So the way that my company and at least a lot of the founders I've talked to, they give out equity is usually to the first couple employees, like, or a big executive hires, or some sort of minor stock package. We at our company, like, we do competitive pay. We're not trying to undercut with shares. So the shares are just benefit because we really believe in it. So, but some companies will hand out shares fist and you have to be nervous about it. Obviously, if you're early, but you have to know that, like, it's a very long time before those shares are worth something, and I make that very clear. Like, you have to IPO or get an exit or be in a buyout situation. All of those are a couple years down, and if you look at the statistics, getting that far, except for a couple anomalies, is difficult. So make sure you're dedicated to the vision and the team. Unless you're like in a really good position or you have like some good information, like, I would focus on getting a good base pay, maybe get stock package. But once you really believe in the company, the vision, like, I would start to negotiate it. You can easily be like, hey, like, instead of like giving me a raise, like, I would love to get a stock package, like, make sure you do the awareness, because you're not going to see that for like 2+ years. But it's great. Like, it really is. Like, after the vesting schedule, after you're going, if there's a cliff or not, it really has a great value, like early shares in companies that go on for over 100 million up to a billion, like, that's life-changing money. And that's along with you already having your life. So I look at it as like, it might happen. If it does, it's great. Obviously for my company, I have a lot of belief in it, but if I'm putting my shoes in the person applying to a startup that is, let's say, in a volatile space, like, you really need to understand the risks, the pros and the cons. And when you're going to get it. If you're banking on that as your lifeline, like, I would look elsewhere. So
No, no. Thank you for elaborating on the pros and cons. I think there's always risk involved in every decision that you take, but you definitely need to analyze what would suit you, whether you can afford that risk, and whether, if it doesn't go according to you, what would be your backup option. So thank you so much for sharing that, Connor. My next question for you, Connor, would be, what kind of positions are open within your company? What kind of roles are you actively looking to fill?
awesome. So a majority of ours are in the developmental space. So we're looking for back end engineers, front end engineers, both junior and senior. So if you're coming out of college looking for a job, like, we have still, like I mentioned, competitive pay, but really need to, like, understand the metaverse, like the focus on the future of gaming, data scientists, like anyone kind of in that space who really likes numbers. Please give us a call. People who are very immersed in the space, like managers, like people who understand Discord communities, Reddit communities, like, this space, like, has a lot of niche communities. If you understand how to build those, how to interact, or you have a market and a network, like, that's a great thing for operation side. For the account side, for when we're onboarding companies, account executives, business development, and customer support, and those three will interact together on the kind of operations side, handling and facilitating the companies that are onboarded. So you'll obviously have a relationship with the tech team, but a majority of your thing is handling client success. So it's making sure that, yeah, everything is good, the accounts are handled, because we'll be scaling quickly for that, and more people will come. And then obviously, if you're looking to just kind of see the eyes of either like the CTO or the CEO, there's like 2 assistant position available, totally virtual. And that's kind of more hands-on, like notes, being in meetings, being in calls, like really kind of getting a look behind the curtains. So those are just kind of the roles. So
Okay.
some of them are already up on
So
LinkedIn.
there's
So
Okay, perfect. So there's a lot of hiring. I can definitely see that things are working out for your company, and wish that they continue to work out, because it definitely sounds like an amazing company, especially when it comes to niche specific skills. So thank you so much for mentioning that,
yeah,
Connor. But other than that, our time is up, Connor. All the best for your next round.
thank
I
you.
hope things work out well, and I hope I can get a message from you saying that you made it. I look forward to
Yeah,
that message. But other than that, it was an absolute pleasure learning about your wonderful company, how and why it's different from other companies, just because it doesn't have any competitors and it's definitely taking a different approach on specifically gaming. So it was an absolute pleasure, and I hope you continue. I hope your company continues
All
to
right,
grow.
thank you, and best of luck with your series. This is great. All right, bye.